One. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Make Love Easy podcast, where we're serving successful professional men achieving the love, power, and sex they truly desire. I have the great privilege, pleasure, and honor of introducing Aude, who is somewhat to me of an internet celebrity and a masterful expert in embodied wisdom, sexuality, intimacy. We're just going to have a really fun conversation. Hey, welcome. How's it going?
Thank you. It's going so great. I'm very excited for this conversation, and I'm honored to be invited.
Oh my gosh. The honor is mine.
Thank you.
So what was the journey that led you? Because I see all these, okay, I'm not going to say like splashy or attention grabbing posts, but your expression is naturally like distinct and different and unique and sort of perpendicular from a lot of expression out there. And it's really raw and vivid and vibrant and vital and frankly addictive to a certain degree in a really cool way. And I'm just curious, like, how did you get to the point of cultivating of where you are now in the cultivation of your sexual, romantic, intimate, relating, embodied expression and wisdom? Like, how did you become the sex and love expert that you are?
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I'm not sure I perceive myself this way. I'm just I'm a human being who's very curious and courageous. So for me, my vision is to feel free, to be free on all levels, to be free from my fears, from any shame. And so, I wouldn't even say that I'm not a very sexual person. Like, I'm a nerd who loves to write, who loves to dance. And it just so happened that I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of electricity going through my body because I do the work to clear myself. And as a result of this clarity, I can easily write. I can have an orgasm like this. And so I will shut WhatsApp 1 second.
No worries.
Okay, if not, it's gonna send me notification. Great. So sometimes people ask me about sex. Let's talk about sex, and we'll talk about sex for sure. It's a great topic. People love it. But sex is a result of being clear, of being well, of having a nervous system that is relaxed, of feeling connected, of feeling safe. We shouldn't make sex the focus of our work. We should go look at the blockages, anything that stands in the way of sex, because the body is naturally speaks sex. That's the domain of the body. If we make it the domain of the mind, then we get in the way of this natural energetic expression that is designed for us to come together, to dance together. And so that's why sometimes I think I remember in past relationships, we would talk about our sex life and problems and how long has it been since we had sex? And it would become this big, like, heady thing. And like, no. And even learning the strategies, learning I can teach a man how to make a woman squirt. We can talk about this. And there's a position for the finger, there's a sequence. Sure. There is some mechanical aspect to it. But really, I've been in different times that my body was so relaxed and I felt so connected and so aroused that it wasn't about the technique. My body squirted like this. And so it's really about, we have to go at the root and go deeper. And that takes more courage, right? People are looking for the technique, the tip, the master strategy for things to happen. But if we do the inner work, if we take care of our energy, if we have a strong energetic hygiene sequence every day, if we speak our truth and we feel and we build this trust with our partner, naturally great sex happens. So I didn't know this before, and so there are two parts, right? So there's my journey as a human being with sexuality, with a body, right? And then the other part is the way I express it online, which is a huge part in my life, like the writing part, and which is also connected to my sexuality, because expressing my truth and the secrets, the shame that I had, and putting it out there allows me to transmute the shame and the fear, right? When I see it, when I show it, it calls me into acceptance of myself. It takes the shame and it transforms it into confidence and acceptance. And that dissolving, once again, helps my energetic, my sexual body to be even more clear and for these big orgasms to happen, right? But that's the path of courage. And so again, people are looking for like the higher way. No. God is smart. God, on the other side of doing the work, of looking at our shit, of transmuting it, of dissolving it, is the bliss, is the connection, is the relaxation, is the calm that we search in all these ways. Yeah.
Elegant as always. It's funny and fascinating to me that what your response is, like how do we cultivate great sex or the flow of sexual energy? It's really the path of cultivating a deep spiritual practice and process of alchemy, of transmutation, of, as you said, keeping yourself clear, energetic hygiene. And that's really simple. That's like
simple. It's super. That's why, like, when people like frame me as an expert for, like, it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm just doing my work, and the result is very simple. It's the best things are actually so simple that sometimes even teaching it feels like awkward, because it's like, guys, we're designed for that, and the mind is seeking for this complex, complicated route that is full of like hard work and suffering to reassure ourselves that we're like working hard and we deserve like the goodies on the other side. But it's like, no, it gets easier and easier. But yeah, my journey, I was born and I was a master of sex. No, I actually, in a way, I was, because we all are. As children, we remember that feeling good is good, and so we are naturally very like erotic beings, erotic in the sense that we're alive, we're connected to or turned on to what is colorful and vibrant, and we are still in the realm of the body, right? We are in the physical environment, we are present, and with presence, with aliveness, with connection to what feels good, with pleasure, this is how you achieve a great erotic life. And children understand that now. Sure, it may be uncomfortable that I say this, but it's just the truth of it. And so I would get my friends to undress each other. We would undress and like touch each other because it felt good. And I called it les rois et les reines, like the kings and the queens. And maybe that was like reminiscing of a past life where we used to like have orgies or something. But sex used to be much more social and communal as a way to reinforce bonds and so on. So there's nothing crazy in that. A lot of people are like, oh my God, a threesome, a sex party. Like, it's funny to see people's reaction, because it's only big when you're disconnected from it. But if you ever go to a sex party, to an orgy, when you have a threesome, it's like your body remembers that we did that for a long time, that it's much more natural than, forcing ourselves into the same kind of sex, monogamous sex, designed for preparation. Like, it's the same dance over and over again. And of course, at some point, it's not exciting anymore. Of course, your thoughts go elsewhere. Of course, people are addicted to porn. Of course, people cheat or they don't want to have sex anymore. The current equation is broken. But anyways, I was born naturally alive, as you were. We knew how to feel good. And then when I was about, I think it was like 10 years old, my babysitter caught me touching myself. She saw my hand moving under the blanket, and she looked at me very seriously, and she said, "Fais pas ça, c'est pas bon. Don't do this, it's bad." I was filled with shame. I was terrified. And since then, I stopped touching myself and exploring my body. And so the first time I had sex, or more so like I gave sex to my boyfriend to be a good girlfriend, I didn't know my body. I hadn't had an orgasm. And so for me, sex became a chore, something I did to get love and safety. And so for a lot of women, sex is a tool. It comes with a lot of pressure, because if you look at the graphs for the different hormonal curves between men and women and the peaks of testosterone, there's a clear mismatch. So for men, it goes up around, teenage years and 20s, and then it goes down. And then for women, we peak at around my age now, which is around like 35 and 40. So there's like, it clashes, a young man could penetrate the whole world. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And it can, if it's not well managed, well channeled, it can feel like, you know, a train coming at you. And when you're a young woman who is totally disconnected from her body, you know, there are different factors. It's not just the relationship with the men, but it's also a society that for a woman tells you that if you have a lot of sex, if you want sex, you're a slut. So for me, there would be girls, some girls were jealous of me. They said, oh, there's a slut. When I was 16, I hadn't kissed a boy. Okay. So what kind of like wiring does it create in a female brain that, you know, and I would count like when in later years, I wanted to keep my number under 10 for the rest of my life. That was a goal. So think about this for a second. Like what's my outlook on sex if I want to keep my number low, if I don't want to be a slut, I want to be socially accepted, right? All these things. So then there was a big turning point. So again, when I was maybe 7, 8 years old, one of my best girlfriends was very sick. The doctors had said that she would die within a few years. She had a kidney disease. And so I went with her at the hospital to get dialysis. And it was very shocking. You know, when you're a kid and you see other kids that cannot play and that are sick, it was quite traumatizing for me. I was in hypochondriac in later years. And yeah, so I just wanted to be healthy. And anyway, so our parents moved and like we lost sight of each other. But when I moved to Montreal for college, I reconnected with her. At that point, we were 19 years old. And when I saw her, first of all, she was in a throuple. She had a boyfriend and a girlfriend, of course. Not only did she survive, but she was glowing. She was like beaming. I looked at her, I was like, what? I thought I was like surprised she hadn't died, that she looked so healthy. I was like, this is my friend and she was sick. And then we talk. And her then boyfriend explained to me that they're like the OG of like internet coaches. You know, that was a long time ago. And they, you know, they were coaching people how to make women squirt. And so my friend was like now a porn star and like deemed like one of the most orgasmic women on the planet. She was like, it was incredible. And so in my hypochondriac mind, the magic connection that happened in that moment was that sex was a key to being healthy and vibrant. And that if I had good quality sex, every orgasm would tonify my organs and would energize me, would like bring this healing electricity. So when people look at me, they're like, oh, sex, oh, you're into sex and so on. It's like, no, I'm a nerd who cares about her health, who wants to live a long and vibrant life. And I understood at some point, I connected the dots that for us to be healthy, sex is a huge part of the equation. It's accessible, it feels great, it's free. And so all of these fancy pills and solutions that we're seeking for are really just the expression of our fear of intimacy. If we're really like have the courage of connecting with someone else and, you know, risking rejection or like in the messy and predictable dance that is, you know, relationship with another human being, if we take that route, the rewards are way bigger than any kind of green juice or workout we can ever have. We are designed for connection. We are designed for sex. And this is just the most natural thing to do. And without that, full health is not possible. If you look at a human being, like sometimes I go to a cafe or whatever, and I see like a woman is like 50 something and she looks depressed. If she goes to see a psychiatrist, she will be given, or a psychologist, she will be given a prescription like this for, I don't know, Xanax or whatever, these kind of pills. What she really needs in that moment is to get fucked really well. She needs like to be pulled. She needs her hair pulled. She needs her ass slapped. She needs to come all over this wonderful giving man who wants to serve the feminine and just like see a woman like a melt in pleasure. That's what she really needs. She doesn't need a massage or to go to the spa or do a fucking nails. She doesn't need any of that. Any of these like fake self-love, self-care, chemical solutions that we go for because really we're so afraid of connecting with someone else. And so everyone is single and alone, but like we're billions of people and it's like we all want the same thing. We all have the key. We all have the key and the lock. Mm-hmm. We all have the solution together. And yet we're like, yeah, but like men are like this and women are like this. And like both sides, we're like complaining. Everyone's complaining about each other, right? Everyone is like, and sure, it's okay. It's okay, like to feel the emotion and the anger, and like it was rough for a few centuries, like men, women, I get that, but to let that go, and to with my work with men, it was so touching for me to realize how men really just want to serve the feminine, if only the feminine allowed them to serve, and yes, it's hard for a woman sometimes, and I include myself, to receive the full worship and the full love, the full penetration of a man, because it's so big, and that force that you have. And for me to receive it fully, I must feel worthy of it. This relaxation, this openness, this capacity to receive. Receiving can be quite a challenge sometimes. So it's this dance. And if we are to reestablish polarity and healthy, exciting sex life, women, we have to let go, to forgive, to see the truth in man. We have to build bridges, and for men, same thing, to also let go and forgive, and to look at each other anew, and to trust, that this design is there for a good reason, and to come back to this polarity. I'm not into like extreme polarity teachings. I think there's like some insanity out there on the internet, but where polarity makes sense is for the sexual equation, for the energy to move through, right? So to embrace that, to embrace our natural design, like our bodies are different. Men and women have different bodies with different equipment, and sometimes we can even switch. There are different ways that I can penetrate a man, and so on. So it's not that, but it's like there's a flow of energy that happens for orgasms to be experienced. I went in different directions, yeah.
Oh, this is amazing. I love it. It's so refreshing and delightful. There were a lot of things I wanted to pick up on. So there's some really great neuroscience. I think the work of Daniel Amen in Sex on the Brain, he says people who have more sex more often live longer, happier, healthier lives. He calls it Methuselah's secret. So like, it's really refreshing to have someone show up in the space of a commitment to health first, and sex as an access or an expression of that. Sort of staying in that same realm for a moment, what are your best tools, trainings, or recommendations for that practice of energetic hygiene and clearing yourself that you mentioned, that enable you ease of access to not just orgasm in sex, but it sounds like a thriving, flourishing, flowing, energetic life in general?
Yeah, good question. Well, there are different trainings after that. When I realized that this path was appealing to me and I was so stuck, there are different trainings that I took, like Priestess School and Ista. Ista is an incredible training. I highly recommend it. For me, it felt like very foundational. And obviously reading all the books and so on, like I'm a nerd. So for me, I'm always like, I think studying like 2 programs and reading 3 books all at once. So it's, you can do all of that, and it is good because I coach in that domain. So for me, I think it's useful to know the vocabulary and the techniques and so on. But with time, I'm coming to a place of such simplicity, and I get a little bit hesitant of like sharing precise techniques. And the reason is that what's usually more efficient for me to empower someone to be their own best coach, their own best sex healer, so that no one needs me, and that we're all empowered, because a lot of coaches create these codependent dynamics in which it justifies like a high ticket price, and then that's great for sales, wonderful. But really what we want to achieve here, they're just like the pharmaceutical industry, there's little money in the healing, right? So we want like this kind of alleviation of symptoms, and then you just need me all the time to show you exactly how to do it, the 3-step process. Sure. But if you're really connected to your body and you tune in with yourself and you take a moment to breathe, just breathing, just sleeping well, and breathing from your belly, getting some sun, drinking water. Ooh, it's so crazy, so sophisticated, right? But it's like the most basic things people don't even do.
Yeah.
Now I can tell you about some tantric techniques. I can tell you about these different breathing techniques, like what is it called, like orbital, like I do this, but I was doing these things before I knew about them, because what I did is that I connected to my body, and the body naturally has the mechanics and the instinct to heal itself. What a shocking concept, right? So I'll give you an example. When animals, when ducks and dogs, they fight or something traumatic happens, then they always shake afterwards. They always shake to move the energy, to clear the energy. It's like we brush our teeth, we take a shower. I talk about this often, but you want to shake, classic tantra tool, using breath, sound, and movement to clear yourself. Now, this shouldn't be something that I can tell someone to do that. But again, if you go the root and you connect to yourself, when something happens, you'll be like, oh, you naturally, you'll want to do that. And now someone will be like, okay, so how many minutes do I do it? What is the sound? Or like, do I do it like this, or do I do it like this? And it's like, when you kiss someone, are you thinking, okay, I'm gonna put my tongue there, and then I'm gonna, no, you're just in the flow of it. You're connecting to the emotion, and the emotion of it and the allowance of your body's intelligence to act is naturally guiding the great kissing and the great trusting and the great all of that, you know? So it's like, what we wanna do is like the grippy, sticky part of the mind that is always getting in the way of the innate intelligence of the body. That's what we want to do. And naturally, the rest will flow. So I'm always hesitant to like teach, like, for women, I teach like yoni egg exercises. And it's like, okay, how many seconds do I do this? And like, there are teachers that are very precise and but it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's like when you cook, okay, every recipe you can ever make, at some point it was someone experimenting. Someone just put these things together, and perhaps like for you, I think it's better to try different things, to feel the texture of it, and to learn in a way that allows us to create our own processes, like your own flow to clear your energy. But and the work here that is needed is just to ask yourself, like, connect to your body. You close your eyes and you breathe. It's like, what do I need right now? Do I need to stretch? Like, what would feel good? What does my body want? Is it like, do I want to like dance? Do I want to move? It's like just like being in the body and allowing the energy to move. And then the basics: sleeping 8 hours a day, having some sunlight, again, breathing from the belly to relax your nervous system. A body that is stressed is a body that is in a state of there's a threat. So the body naturally is like, this is not time to reproduce. This is not time, like, this is not a time to make a baby, because there's something that is about to eat us, Again, people want to skip to bliss. Don't. It's like, you must take the time to relax your body. That's as simple as meditation, sitting in silence, relaxing, taking a moment to observe your mind stories and relaxing them. Again, sex is a result. Sex is the result of everybody that is clear, that feels safe, a body that is vibrant and full of energy. But for that, you have to go at the root and take care of the basics. So I won't go any more like nitty-gritty, because it's useless, because then it just, once again, it would like, people listening to that, it would be like, the mind gets so excited. I have like a to-do list and all of these like fancy exercises, and I can feel like a good spiritual student, and I can claim to be a tantra expert and so on. It's like, no, forget all of this. And forget, like, I've paid a lot of money for these expensive retreats and whatever, and programs. No, like, the way I teach is very different. It's meant to empower you to create your own technique and your own processes, because everybody's different. Every situation is different. and your tools will evolve as your body evolves. So there needs to be flexibility, there needs to be flow, there needs to be a connection and attunement to what is needed in every moment. And your body is your body is your teacher. Your body will tell you. So let your body lead you, because now the mind is leading us. And the great problem in the reason why our sex lives are not so fulfilling and nourishing and easy is because of the intervention of the mind that is afraid of rejection, the mind that is afraid of asking for what it needs, the mind that the thoughts that are getting in the way of pure presence. This is the problem. And as we calm this, again, with breathing, just moving, like conscious movement, meditation is a big part of my life. Like I meditate every day. So all of these things, and then the rest will happen naturally. Trust that and relieve all and any pressure to run to performative sexuality, and counting orgasms and so on. That brings me to an important point here.
Sure.
For men listening, most men engage in that dance, that classical dance, that woman we all know about. It's getting old, it's getting redundant, right? So it goes like this. I will give you oral sex or make you come in any kind of way with my fingers or any kind of tool. And when you have come, I will feel like a good lover, and then I can go and just penetrate you and have my fun and come, and then I feel like I did my duty as a lover. Great. It's always the same. It's classic. That it's like, it's kind of, it's a classic, but it's like, it's so predictable. So predictable. I salute the man's desires to make a woman come, to see her in pleasure. It's beautiful. It's a natural act of provision and service, and it's like, it's fulfilling to see her in a state of, it's rare because women, we tend to think a lot these days with all of this programming. Finally you see the woman in ecstasy and her reaction, now she's dissolved and she's like put in your arms, like wonderful. I get that. And then of course I want for all women to have beautiful mind-bending orgasms. Yes. But how refreshing is it to enter a dance that is profoundly different and creative? Like the stimulation of it. And what if tonight it was just dancing together sensually and letting the energy rise, trying something new? What if it was role play? What if it was in the bathroom of this nice restaurant? What if we tried a different dynamic? What if we just massaged each other? What if we self-pleasured side by side? What if, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with like giving oral sex for her to come and then for penetrative sex to be enjoyed, because penetrative sex is awesome. It's great. It's just the repetitive and predictable nature of it that reduces the level of arousal. It's just natural that things that are, what makes something erotic is something that is new, adventurous, and also the forbidden nature of it. That's a whole other topic. But yes, I would invite men to try a different dance and to get creative and see the kind of disruption that creates and the kind of surprise in the woman, like going, what? Okay, and then it electrifies the whole dance.
So rich, so valuable, so impactful. I appreciate all of that. There's a tangent that I think would be fun to go on, and you intuitively already gave men, I think, what they most need to know, that in your language and eloquence. I have some curiosity, because when I was in college, of all places, I encountered Georges Bataille and his work on the erotic, and how it was so deeply connected to the taboo. And I'm curious, being that he's a French philosopher, what are your thoughts on the nature of his work and then the erotic and the connection with taboo? Because it seems like where you're pointing people is in the direction of escalating, being at the cutting edge of what actually brings them arousal. And that sounds very much like what happens in his story of the eye, or what he's talking about, like fundamentally we're violating something to experience eroticism. So go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Apologies, I'm not so familiar with his work, but I can really talk about taboo and the edges and the erotic. So let's go there. Okay. So I do not watch porn. I've seen it 5 times in my entire life. It's not something that is appealing to me, but for the purpose of exploration, I've seen it on my own twice. Okay. Now, what is porn? Porn is mostly all that we say we shouldn't want, right? So it's like mostly like incest and age play and so on. And so that's the problem with that. There are different ways to increase sexual energy and tension, right? So one way is to create tension and distance with showing you something you shouldn't have, and that increases the tension. It's like it creates like this mechanical pull towards it. It just like creates a big charge, and that is proven again and again, like in all areas in which someone shouldn't want something. Like, if you look at the sex crimes that like where they happen and how they happen, it's always with people who have been repressed, who suppress their instincts and so on. And that's a big problem. Now, where is sexuality the most relaxed? If you go at a nudist beach, if you go in a place where people can be naked and can be free and can be relaxed in their sexuality, there's actually no sexual tension. It all goes away. It's really nice to go on a nudist beach or even a sex resort and like to see all the genitals like flopping around, being like relaxed. It's pretty cool. And then you have the world of like, in the like uptight communities, and like, we're like such good children of God. And it's like that this is where the sex crimes happen. Like this is where the problems are. Now, the problem with porn, the way they do it is that they create high sexual tension to give people a quick hit that is like a cocaine-like energy to get off to, because I mean, I could talk about this for a long time, but if we got the root of the problem here is that a lot of men, through the different stimulants, media, caffeine, the different stimulants, their energy, the anxiety increases, and people don't know how to hold a lot of energy, how to be highly energetic. So they're like, oh, I don't know what to do with it. Oh, it's like, okay, now I'm good. Okay, good. And then they come, and the obsession with masturbation and porn depletes them from their energy, and then they're exhausted. So people are both like, anxious with like too much electricity and exhausted at the same time. Right? In the morning, people cannot wake up. They're exhausted. They need caffeine to get the machine started. And then at night, they need downers. They need like weed and alcohol to bring themselves down. And they need masturbation to feel a sense of relaxation. This is not a healthy system. This is just the truth of it. The wiring, it's like you have a computer. There's a processor. There's like electrical wiring. Or think about a car, okay? And let's say I'm driving a car, and then I'm always pressing on the gas or like pressing on the brakes. Like it's like the car's like always kind of like, what the fuck? Like it affects the mechanic, the mechanics of it. So that's a problem with porn. So, but more subtly than that, we're kind of tricky. There are a lot of things I could say here, but instead, okay, so porn exists and we have different thoughts, and it's all the fantasies and the kinks that we have. First of all, they're all beautiful and they're all normal. The problem is creating shame around them, okay? And the shame around it just makes it even more obsessive, okay? So I think it's important to like, whatever you may watch or get yourself stimulated by, or like whatever you may fantasize about, it is absolutely normal and beautiful. And through the practice of shadow work, the way to dissolve these taboos is not by making them wrong. is by embracing our kinky, twisted nature as human beings, and to embrace it, to celebrate it so that we can dissolve it and choose differently if we want to. Otherwise, to realize that there are a lot of weird, kinky people, and it's not even weird, it's not even kinky, it's just human nature. Now, a lot of our sexuality, the things that arouse us, the things that are exciting to us, actually have been designed and have been shaped through by childhood. Now, if you look at, a man when it's so arousing, like big breasts, where did you first see big breasts in your life?
Mommy.
Of course, it's all linked. It's all linked. Women love to get their hair pulled and like their ass slapped. Where do you think that first happened? With daddy.
Daddy.
And a lot of people are like, "Oh, daddy issues, mommy issues." It's like, no, because actually the dance of sex is actually made to procreate, to create another mommy and another daddy. There's a function to sex. It's not decoration. My boobs, my ovaries are not decoration. Now we've gotten fancy with sex and we try to make it like so separate and so on, and it creates a lot of discomfort and shame. And again, shame is the lowest frequency we can hold. It is a poison for our psyche, and the only way out of it is full acceptance and a deep dive into these energies and parts of ourselves.
Yeah, so much. That leads me back to an earlier tangent of how you've cultivated your voice and expression to transmute shame through sharing.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, not everybody's necessarily going to be as eloquent a writer, but there are, I have to be, I imagine, ways of cultivating that attitude of release and expression as an access to releasing shame. What would you recommend?
I'm glad you're asking me about this because I'm creating a program for this now. It's called Liberation Through Expression. That's the current name. I'm toying with different names. But what I want to offer people is a safe, private space to practice expressing themselves, their secrets, their most shameful stories, to face them, to embrace them, to transmute them, to release them, to be seen. Because, I do it on the internet, I do it publicly, but the internet is a crazy place. And for some people that have been judged, that have been bullied, it can be re-traumatizing. And we're honestly, the nervous system is not meant to be judged and observed by a few thousand people. Like, it's not designed for that. So I wouldn't suggest someone who has a deep phobia of public speaking to just jump and on the internet and go make YouTube videos, because the comments that they may get or like the reflection they may get might be troublesome. So I'm creating the safe container that will be fully private, and there will be coaching and the process that I've developed over time. Because yes, now that I've seen it, I've been doing it for 12 years. At some point, the process emerges and you say it clearly. So the first step is to find our stories, find the things we don't want to say, find the things we're afraid of saying. And then, sometimes I ask someone, so why wouldn't you share it? Why wouldn't you say it? Well, no, like, are you crazy? Like, that's private. Like I don't want to say this. Why? There's fear. It reveals fear and shame. So these are the places that are tender, that are fragmented, that are rejected. These are the pieces of us that must be retrieved, that must be brought back into our system so that we retrieve wholeness. And this, in turn, again, creates clarity, and it creates courage, and it just gives us more energy. We do not realize the amount of power and energy we lose in always hiding places in us, in rejecting parts of ourselves. We cannot be fully energized if we are rejecting parts of us. That's just it. And Jesus said it. Truth will set you free. Like, there's no other way than truth. And my other teacher, Kim Amani, says that truth is the best lubricant. Now, a lot of people struggle with that, and I understand why, because you get a reaction, judgment, fights happen, so on. So that's what I'm creating now. It's a safe place to practice saying it and realize the power it has, and the courage and the instant transmutation that happens when you share your story, because you see it. Now you must face it and accept it. But also, okay, so finding the stories, doing the shadow work, the inner child healing to transmute the shame. This is the second part. Then the third part is to create your story. How do you want to share it, right? And then I have different techniques to find your flow, to create infinitely, and to tap into these veins of infinite inspiration. I could write 10,000 words a day, like easily. So your life gives you this curriculum that is full of rich stories of inspiration, if only you have the courage and the willingness to go there. And the fourth step is to finally share it, to feel the energy of it, and to inspire other people by sharing your story. That is an incredible benefit of, I mean, it's just a bonus, right? Again, people will have a safe private space to share it, but no one has to share their life online like I do. Some people do. You share your stories as well. It's beautiful. And I wish for a world in which we're all more open, you know. It makes Facebook and social media way more exciting than just like cherry picking these like perfect plastic moments in which like, oh, I like it, everything is okay and normal. And it's like, no, like as long as I think you're normal, I do not know you. Mm-hmm. As long as we haven't been naked together and in a space of deep vulnerability, we do not know each other. This is not how strong relationships are formed. So yeah, I want to help people free themselves from this blockage, these fears of being seen. I ran this program 3 years ago now. It was called a safe space to shine, and it was instant. People are afraid of speaking up, of showing up until they do. And after that, like the first minutes are maybe stressful, and then they're like, wow, I love like speaking and I want to be seen. I have more to say. And it's like, like this is a natural need. Like we're here in bodies to be seen. We have a voice, we have a body, like we're made, all of us, everyone listening to that as a voice, as something to say. The format may be different, but we all have some kind of living. And the more vulnerable we get, the more freedom we'll experience. And the more connection we'll experience with other people. And that is a big part of sex as well. People go on dates. So now you're a successful man listening to that. They will go on dates. They will open Bumble, Hinge, Tinder, whatever. They will go on a date. We're like, oh, let's go to a nice dinner with this woman. Let's go in our role, in our theater, in our human self. And like, let's interview each other, like all in the mind, you know? If people on a date were to take a moment to just be in the body and share something vulnerable, when I say vulnerable, like is the thing that you're afraid of saying, is a thing that you think someone might judge you on, is, because the universe is full of paradoxes, is the thing that actually will connect you to the person. You think it's the thing that will repulse the other person and that the person will be afraid of, that the person will judge you on, and it's the opposite. It is the opposite. And it's that glue, that human glue that creates resonance. And in resonance and connection, the energy, the electricity can pass between two people. And so vulnerability and communication are not separate from sex. And drinking your water in the morning and looking at the sun and doing the breathing and the shaking is not disconnected from sex. And so we must come to this holistic view of what sex is and stop focusing with our heads on sex and like having like that and getting that thing. And really relaxing our relationship with sex and doing our job as human beings to tell the truth and to care for our bodies. And the rest will come naturally.
Mm. This naturally leads into what is your work with women, or excuse me, with men? Like what do you do uniquely in the world with them, and how does that work? Because I've seen you even proposing kind of a spiritually, alchemically suggestive, if you will, threesome, like in your content. It was like, what? That's amazing. Like to be able to. What's that for?
Quite bold.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, tell us more about your work and how you serve uniquely and how you love to serve.
I think people probably enjoy imagining that I do like more hands-on like sex work, but I don't. And the reason is that I take immense care of my energy, and for me to engage in that way, I would have to be aroused and like attracted. And so I bow to sex workers that somehow, have the ability to engage sexually. Like when I was in my early 20s, yes, I went out and drinking and one night stands with men that I didn't really care about. And it's like, it's over time, the relationship with sex changes, and it is beautiful. It is sacred. And I think as I get older, like I just become more and more discerning. So when I say like offering a sacred threesome, it's more so as a facilitator of sensuality. For me, in the way there's a whole universe between like genital sex, penetration, and cuddling, kissing, touching, sensuality. And that is, for me, that is very easy. It's a language that is very accessible and universal with people, because I think we're just designed for that. We're designed to cuddle together, to be in bed together, to just like relax and look at the stars. And it doesn't have to be all charged, because again, when there's an allowance and an embrace of that energy, things are less charged and things become more relaxed. Whereas like two people that shouldn't have sex and are standing beside each other, like in an elevator or whatever, like, but they are both married, like there can be a way bigger charge in that moment. You see what I mean? So I want to bring people like in this relaxed state, and I'm managing a community here in this beautiful, gorgeous home in Mexico. And there's like, it's not sexual, and in the jacuzzi, like we can hug each other and like just like, be sensual and close, but there's no penetrative sex or any of that. And so for me, I want to offer like this universe in which there are nuances. So when I say like a sacred threesome, there wouldn't be penetrative sex with the man or anything like that. It's more so for me to hold space and for me to act as a template for the woman to see that it's safe to be in her body, to safe to get out of her mind, to safe to dance, to be in her feminine energy. I used to be all in my head. I started I was the CEO of like 2 software companies when I was younger. So for me, it's like I was always making decisions and very much in my masculine energy. I imagine I'm more in my head. I'm speaking now, but otherwise I tend to be, I spend a lot of time in my body and emotions and just in my flow during the day. My spectrum is wide. But yeah, it's the work that I do with men. So it's online coaching, and I don't know why I have this deep level of empathy for men. It's like I remember being a man very well. I understand the male body really well, but I'm a woman in this lifetime. And so it's very easy for me to see the pieces and the things that must be realigned and recalibrated for sex life to happen. Like it's hard to explain, because I was asking some clients the other day, so how would you explain what I do? One client said that I'm basically ayahuasca in human form. And it's true that when I'm in session, I go in meditation and I channel. And I'm a businesswoman, and for me to even say that is a little bit uncomfortable, because it's kind of spiritual mumbo jumbo, and it's like there's a part of me that's like, but it's true that the things I say and that come through me go beyond, bless you, go beyond my human experience. I'm quite young and so on. So, and same thing when I write, when I write it, sometimes there are like beautiful things that come through me, and I'm so grateful for it. So my work is to be clear. My work is to be open to receiving all that information. And when I show up in session, I clear myself and I show up as this empty vessel. So I've tested it. A man or a client, a woman, could ask me a question about pretty much anything when I'm in that state, and the answer would come. Now, it just so happened that, yes, a lot of my work and focus has been around sex. And sometimes it's not because I'm obsessed or an expert with sex. It's because I have the courage to say these things. Mm-hmm. Because one of my main values, there's liberation and there's truth, right? That's it. And truth is just, and it just so happened that sex is a truth in human life. That's it. So for me, I'm not more interested in sex than I am in health, than I am in self-growth or money or nature. Like for me, it's all equal. It's just that sometimes I feel like, well, someone has to say it. Like, come on, and it's energetically rich and exciting and entertaining. People like it, awesome, and it's fun. Sex is beautiful, but again, when I do the work, we rarely talk about sex. We go at the root and see what is standing in the way of sex. For example, I worked with a married couple. They've been married for 17 years, and we did an intensive together. The problem was in sex. They were not having sex anymore, but the problem was in sex. The problem was all the things that were unsaid. It's the resentment, it's the bitterness. And so I acted as this objective eye, and gave them the permission to tell the truth. And I made it easier for them to just release it and cry it out and let it go and clear themselves, so that then the pathways are clear and sexual energy can move. You see? But it's not, we didn't do like a threesome with penetration in India. None of that happens. And again, I can let people fantasize and imagine that I do like these crazy like sex parties or orgies, whatever. People can have their fun. But the point is that I prefer working at a different level that is more like energetically subtle, but that is actually like where things happen, where the magic happens. And when that is done, then the rest will happen. And now I'm pleased to report that they're having sex again. So it's really nice. It's really nice. It's such an honor, you know, to facilitate a few things, to move things around, and then you see like the glow come back and the energy returns, and now they want to have sex and you feel connected, and it's really beautiful.
Oh, I'm so delighted for anyone and everyone under your care. I'm excited to have people find and experience more of you. I've got one more thing that showed up that I just want a little thread to follow through on before we come to conclusion. You drew this picture of the broken formula of sexuality for men, especially. And the net result is them being dissipated with depleted energy and not standing really in their full potency, either in sex or in life, is what I was hearing. And I'm curious if you have any thoughts on, there's a place we return to in this podcast, which is like sex as an access to creating thriving energy flow and flourishing life in general, and flourishing civilization eventually. And so it occurs to me that that system, whether by design or by accident, seems to function, seems to impact men as like a political control mechanism, as something that's like preventing them from standing in their full power, authority, and responsibility to create the world. And I'm curious what your reflections might be in that direction.
I have chills all over my body right now. You're touching something important. It's something really important. I want people to understand that. Okay, put yourself in the shoes of a government for whom order matters. Who would you like to deal with? Would you like to deal with men with empty balls and full bellies? Or men with full balls and clear bellies? I want you to, like, maybe the wording, like, you don't, but think about the contrast. Like, so a man who has empty balls and a full belly is like lethargic. It's like kind of a little bit like tired and like, okay, relax, chilling, like smoke some weed, like get a beer, like chill, watch TV, play some games or whatever, chill. Good. Easy to control. Easy to control. Now, a man with full balls who knows how to charge his body, who knows how to move the energy, who can be discerning, who can make decisions, who has a clear mind, because the wiring is clear, the battery is charged, the processor, the computer is working well, doesn't want to get fucked by a system that doesn't have his, advantage. Like, it's just, you cannot control a man like this. Porn has this huge grip on the collective subconscious. People don't understand what's happening. It's like one thing, we'll get it, in history books in like 500 years, whatever. Like, let's see what happens with AI and so on. But yeah, it is a huge thing. And so it is an act of revolution and loving rebellion for a man to decide to manage to take control over his own sexual energy and to choose to invest his seed in ways that are creative and powerful. And one of my biggest advice to men would be, instead of like depleting yourself from your seed of coming all the time and giving your life force to Kleenex, set a vision for your life and a big project. And you can start by just running or going to the gym, moving, use that energy for something that, you know, nourishes you in return. Do not just give it to a system and to images that are most often violent and misaligned with what you actually want to manifest. But choose a vision, choose something that matters to you, a cause, something that requires your energy, something to channel it to. You need like healthy channels for your energy, because as a man, you're built to build things, to fight. This whole like sitting down system, being like with curved spines, like that affects hormones as well. And we're always sitting. It's a system that, you know, promotes like estrogen, like just female hormones. Like it's very like sit down, comfort, like always looking for safety. And it's like, you're meant to like to fight and be with your brothers and get in the mud and scream. Every time I do like men's circle and I see like men like shouting and like fighting, I'm like, oh, I get chills all over it. That's what you're meant to do. Join a men's circle, get down and dirty and cry, and like move that energy and free yourself. Invest your seed, like channel your life force. Fuck porn. Create your own sex life. When men are with me, they're like, this is way better than porn. This is like, I'm telling you that you can have a sex life that is way richer and way more exciting than whatever you're watching on there. I promise. Sometimes people are like, oh, like porn is not realistic because like it's not their actors and it's like so much better than like, not really. It's kind of always the same plot. It's kind of like, it's not that great. It's not emotionally rich. It can get way more intense, way more energizing. So trust that, know that, like massage that belief in your psyche, and then move towards a direction that gives you your power back. You know, otherwise you're being controlled by a system that just wants order. And your soul didn't come here for repeating the same thing over and over again. A question I like to ask people is like, if your life was a Netflix show, if your life was a movie, would you want to watch it again and again? Would you want to watch your life? I would want to watch my life. My life is super fun. I love it. It's so exciting. But it's important to ask yourself that, because otherwise we're kind of preventing our soul from having this rich, textured, diverse human experience. You know, and so we're all carrying this like little drop of God. And so today in this life, you're carrying God to have a human experience. And it comes with a sense of responsibility to live a courageous, expansive life, you know, to try new things, to be courageous, to not do the same thing over and over again. Try something else, play a game. Take your partner to a new place. Go to the restroom and come back and say, hi, what's your name? Just go on and like do a little role play. Try something new. And then try not watching porn and see like, what could you like fantasize on? Like, what if like you touch yourself, like thinking about all the goals you have and all of this beautiful dream life you have? Can you get off of your dreams? Can you impregnate your dreams? That's called sex magic. Use your sexual energy to energize these beautiful frames. Your sexual energy is your most creative force. Don't waste it. Don't waste it.
So delicious, so inspiring, so enlivening, so uplifting. Thank you so much for being here. How do people get more of you, and where do they find you, and what are you offering these days? You said the course that you've got coming out, like, yeah.
So find me online. My name is Aude Olivia. I'm quite active on Facebook. I share a lot of good stuff on there. audeolivia.com, sorry, in French. It's my website. There's my blog, and you can see my different courses. I have Body Love for a woman to deploy their full orgasmic power, but again, in a way that is different, in an approach that is not focused on just the techniques, but going at the root and doing the deep inner work for them to come back to their bodies. And then North Star, for people to find their purpose. It's a beautiful course that synthesizes all the tools, like 8 years of like self-growth work into this course. But yeah, otherwise private coaching, it's really fun. And I don't force anything for like strategy or marketing, anything like that, because anytime someone resonates with me, that soul connection and that calling, that curiosity is always right. And for some reason, the work that happens, the transformation that happens is so beautiful and fast and gentle and loving, and it's so good, so good. So yeah, if you feel that like strong, like, oh yeah, like, then let's talk. But it has to be like this knowing, this calling, and every time it has led, yeah, it's a beautiful connection. I love going swimming in these deep waters with people, and the courage that people have to like find themselves and free themselves. So it's a beautiful, beautiful journey for someone who was in software before. I used to live in Boston, you know, working in technology, working for a big Japanese corporation, and now I'm doing like this magical work, helping people free themselves. I have more power, pleasure, and peace, and it's a true honor. It's super fun.
Oh,
Yes.
I don't have any more words.
Thank you for having me. That was a great conversation.
Oh, 100%. And to all listening, thank you for listening. Please go follow Aude, and yeah, like, share, subscribe, all the things, the usual. Make sure to share this with your grandma. And yeah, feel free to come back for more. We love you, and have a beautiful, beautiful day.